Hello, listeners. This is Lee Price.
This is Will Ford from Football 365.
And you're listening smartly to At the Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast, although I would describe it as the Chelsea FC podcast.
Magical from Eden Hazard! Kai Havertz in the Champions League final! Ivanovic! Yes. In the middle, it's just behind him, but it's tapped in by Hakim Ziyech. Matic with the ball driver! Matic takes the net off!
It's time for another episode of At the Bridge Pod, your number one Chelsea FC podcast. Coming up on this episode...
It's the new year, everybody, 2024, and we are here with hangovers from both the game and last night. So here we go. Oh, welcome back, everyone, to another episode of At the Bridge Pod, and welcome to the year that is 2024. Hello there. Will it be Chelsea's year? I cannot tell you that, but it won't be. But what I can tell you is that I'm joined in a virtual room filled with some lions. I've got Ollie, I've got Chris. Berth is currently undergoing a rehabilitation program because, natural injuries, which sound lucky that he hasn't had too much to drink. That sounds so bad now. How bad that sounds. To be fair, I can talk. I had a couple of Jaegers and Baileys and my head is screwed, but that's my excuse. What were your highlights from the year that was 23? It's so much for Chelsea. I mean, we had a lot of managers, so many managers.
So many wins, I can't remember them all.
Did we have more managers than wins last year?
Felt
Almost.
Like it really felt like it.
It's got to be close, hasn't it? It's got to be close.
Oh, my word. I mean, it's a tough one. I don't know. I don't know,
actually. Highlight of 2023.
You know what? I would say another WSL title, the fifth.
It's got to be something women's based, isn't it? Let's be honest.
100%.
I would say it's not the men's team, is it?
No.
Yeah.
Men's teams suck. They're awful.
Beating AC Milan, maybe.
Did we beat
women's
them away?
Women's FA Cup final.
Season?
Oh, yeah. Did Chelsea beat AC Milan last year?
Home and away. Under Potter, right?
Were they? That was... Oh, no, that was 22.
Ah, okay.
We beat Dortmund.
We beat Dortmund.
All right, that counts.
That's good enough.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, sure. That's great.
Jesus.
And got knocked out by Real Madrid. Bad year. Bad year.
What a terrible year.
Won the transfer window, though.
But at the end of the day...
Back-to-back transfer window champion.
Woo!
We're all buying the Chelsea season review DVD, though, right?
Oh, 100%. 100%.
Can't wait to rewatch that.
Or like I said to you yesterday, if you put it on at 9:46 p.m, you could time it and it would sync up perfectly for you turning it off at 10 o'clock because we were shit. So
yeah, I mean, I can't back that at all. It's too Spursy.
It's
ridiculous.
We did do a DVD though. I love that. Blew my mind that we actually bothered.
That is shameless.
Yeah, what is the point of that?
Someone owns it. If it's you, listener, let us know.
If that will be a collector's item one day, that would be the only reason you would buy one.
Yeah. All right. Let's check out the news. You know what? I was going to. We are going to lead with this, but straight away I've got to drop the.
Oh Jesus!
Breaking news. Reports in Turkey are saying that Hakim Ziyech's loan deal could be terminated and he'll return to Chelsea after 5 months. So we got a new midfielder, everyone.
Wow.
we got the first signing of the window. Yeah, it's apparently because they believe he has been ineffective and not been able to perform as expected. So there we go.
That's going to be the same for us then.
Yeah, he might be a superstar. So, but one thing that is also reported is that we've opened talks with Nice over the signing of Jean-Clair Todibo. To be fair, if we do get this deal done, we would get closer to achieving our goal of signing every single French centre-half. That seems to be something we're trying to do. Any thoughts on him? I mean, I remember Barca, that's all I do.
I'll tell you why this has pissed me off.
Wow, I'm okay.
Start 2024.
Wow.
What do you mean to go on, Chris?
And it's got nothing to do with him as a player. Because all I've heard about him is good stuff, right? it's pissed me off because we're doing the same thing again. We are literally just buying people that other clubs are linked to. Like 2 days ago, it was Tottenham are in talks with him, and then it was Man United want him. So then Todd Bowley's gone, oh, what's that? Other clubs want to buy a player? No, we'll buy him.
To be fair,
and we
he
will
is-
pay double what they'll pay for him,
He is
even
well
though
known.
he'll turn out to be shit.
Yeah.
He is well known, though, to be fair. So it does make sense for some of the bigger clubs to be in for him at least.
I wouldn't have minded
yeah.
if we was even like linked before, but it's like we've waited for Tottenham and Man United to show an actual interest. Then God, we'll have him. It's exactly what we
Yeah.
Our transfer stuff is absolutely hilarious because
it's
we're looking at that Esteval Willian as well, like, and he's a winger. Apparently,
Of course
he's
he is.
absolutely incredible, but it's like we don't need him at all.
How old is he? 20?
No, I think he's like 16, 17, something like that. 18.
Oh, of course
maybe.
he is.
Yeah.
Fucking hell.
No, he's not 29. Of course he's not.
we Todd Bowley in the transfer window. Oh,
Name a better duo. Oh.
I mean, we'll win it. I don't know if in hindsight we will, but we'll definitely win it this month because that's just going to happen. Imagine if we get to the end of January and we sign no one.
It won't happen.
Oh,
no, of
What's
course
going
it
to happen?
won't.
It's going to be the exact same thing that's happened the last few windows where we'll go for somebody and they'll hold out on us for a massive fee, which we'll eventually pay after a very long, drawn-out process that frustrates us all and makes us wish the window was shut.
Yeah. I mean, at least I did look at January's fixtures and they're not terrible. We've got Preston this weekend, then Borough, and then Fulham, Borough again. And that's the end of the month because 1st February we take Liverpool on.
Okay,
So-
realistically, we actually shouldn't lose this month.
No, we shouldn't.
No, Fulham are decent, to be fair. Fulham beat
hiccup of
Arsenal.
Fulham,
So
but we should still beat them.
yeah,
Local
that's fair.
derby, we
that's
should
true.
have them, really. The
Um,
closest it's been in years.
Yeah, which is a worry. And their best player is one of our ex-players.
And we'll probably
course.
get into our team now.
Yeah. Oh, William would walk in. Oh, I really do. I believe that. Right, match report. It was sponsored by. We nearly bottled that one, but then we didn't. So we're all winners, aren't we? Luton 2, Chelsea 3. We have to start with winners. I mean, it's weird, isn't it? You come out of that game almost like you were beaten. We weren't. We won. So, I mean, the one man I've got first up is Thiago Silva. And I'll tell you exactly.
He's on mine too.
I'll tell you why he is my first winner on this list because I've ordered them here. It's the passion and the attitude he threw down at the end of the game. That was frustration because we turned a stroll in the park into a nail biter in the last 10 minutes. You know, that is the attitude that we should all be rocking at this club, and it's that burning desire for victory. And
You know what I was shocked. Sorry, Mikey. Do you know what I was shocked about the most about that whole situation?
Mm.
The fact that some people were saying it was a negative.
How is it? He shouldn't be. We shouldn't be going. Oh, we did all right. Oh, look, we.
Yeah, that's what I don't get either. Like some people was like, he's very negative. He must be negative around the dressing room. And I thought, well, he should be after
Yeah,
that.
he's the only one with standards.
Yeah, that's it. It's insane that some people thought that wasn't anything but positive.
I mean,
It's like, do you know, like it's like if you live with a very, very messy person, right? And you are a particularly clean person, and they don't see anything wrong with the way that they live, and you're like really frustrated by it. That's kind of what it's like.
I mean, let's not kid ourselves. He's still the top dog in our defensive lineup. You know, the man keeps his fitness game very well high. You know, he steps onto the pitch nearly every game, it feels. His leadership is more than the entire squad put together. You know, I don't even need a speech. It's a fact. Everyone knows that. And a contract extension at 39, ridiculous, but it's deserved. It's a must. I mean, the young guns that we've got haven't even come close to challenging his spot in the starting 11. And, you know, I really hope the management isn't caught up in the whole age obsession because, you know, sorry, Thiago, your coaching career can chill for a bit longer because I believe you've got lots of game left in this season and in next season. I mean, if Pepe can play at 40 and do well, Thiago Silva can do the exact same. I mean, I've got nothing else to add.
It was nice to see him hug his kids in the crowd as well.
Yeah, I mean, he's just such
Yeah.
he's already he is genuinely a legend at this club already.
Yeah,
You know,
he is now.
and when he signed, we didn't really expect a lot. You know, we expected a good, proper, professional veteran. I don't think we expected him to be. Arguably, we're talking about him in like our top maybe 4 centre halves of all time. I mean,
Yeah,
He's-
wow.
Yeah.
he is amazing, isn't he? Really, for what he's done for the club, and
Yeah.
he's one of them players that Chelsea have a few of these sometimes where they come in and they don't stay for like a really long time, but straight away they just get the club and the fans just really get on with them really well, and they just sort of understand what the club's about, and they just get it. And Thiago Silva is certainly one of those.
You know, the thing is with Silva as well, he actually deserves to be playing in a much better Chelsea team. Like, he deserves to have been in one of the Chelsea teams that won the league. That's how good he is. Like, he doesn't really deserve to be thrown in with this group of players in terms of their shortcomings.
No,
If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I mean,
he's better. He is better than that.
100%. Who's one of your winners, Chris?
Petrovic.
Yes, he's on mine actually. Oh,
Brilliant save, wasn't it? We all know what I'm talking about. Unbelievable.
Yeah, that save alone could put him on the winners list, but I actually thought his entire game was really solid. There was before that there was a few crosses that he come and claimed and just took the entire pressure off. Didn't allow Luton to build up. That gets sort of what we've had before with keepers like Kepa, for example, is a team like Luton. They put a nothing cross into the box and he wouldn't come and get it, and then it end up scrambling around into a half chance, and the crowd would get involved, and all of a sudden the momentum of the game changes. But when Luton was trying to do that, he was just coming and claiming the crosses, and it wasn't coming to anything. And I think that's why we look so comfortable. It was nothing to do with him why we suddenly fell apart in the last 15 minutes.
No, 100% not.
He actually, with that save, he kept us in it, and he deserves to be a winner for that.
I agree with you, although I would say, didn't he parry the ball to Luton's striker for the second? It's really nitpicky because they were
but that
probably
save
gonna score.
alone.
It's nitpicky because they were probably going to score anyway. But I can't say he wasn't involved.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would say is that one was really weird because it was almost a good save and a bad save. Like, he did well to react to save it, but then he should have pushed it around the post rather than it went back across his body and to the other side of the goal. It was a really weird save, but I just think for his all-round game, I just thought that was the sort of the best game that I've seen him play. And I've been saying that we've had to wait for a game where he was actually tested to see how good he is, and he stood up and was counted, to be fair to him.
Yeah, I mean, I chose him. I chose Jordi as a back-to-back winner, like back-to-back weeks now, because he pulled off world-class saves that kept us hanging in. And yes, conceded goals, but there wasn't a whole lot he could really do. Let's be honest, you know. And everything he had to handle during the game, he was brilliant at. It's just a shame, obviously, we'll touch on that in Lose, I'm sure, that our defence might have turned into a bit of a circus after the 75th minute, which let him down. But we have a good talent here, and Petrovic has earned his spot between the sticks. And when Sanchez returns, I am literally going to be so pissed off if Poch just goes, "Yep, you're back in." I'm like, "What's the fucking point? Throw me shirt on the floor." I'll be so annoyed. Yeah. I'm hoping he doesn't. Agree. But it'd be like, "What's the point? Come on," you know. But Ollie, who's a winner?
My first winner is Moises Caicedo.
He's on mine.
You might have thought that initially, at least in the first half, that Caicedo was having a bit of a tough game. You know, making a few needless fouls around the edge of the box and stuff. Annoying, you know, especially when Ross Barkley almost curls in a free kick, right? And then he had a much better. Well, he sort of shored up in the game after that, and I was sort of not thinking that all that much of his performance. And then I watched it back a little bit, and then I saw the average positions of where all the players were, and he was playing in midfield basically by himself. And he completely masked the fact that there was a gaping massive hole in midfield, and I didn't even notice because he was playing. That is just really impressive for me because I was thinking, yeah, like he's kind of covering up a bad performance. It's gotten a bit better as he's gone on, but actually he was doing so much that he was actually all over the place just because he was running the midfield by himself. If you look at the average positions, Gallagher's miles up the pitch. Just really impressive.
I mean, I had him as a winner because he was quietly doing the job that we brought him in for. He was just handling business. His interceptions were top. His distribution was smooth as butter, and Gallagher did.
The Cole will.
I mean, exactly. I mean, Gallagher had a rare meh game. He did. And that's kind of where Caicedo, I felt, stepped up to the plate because, look, I almost feel that might be his Achilles heel to the fans' eyes because what he excels at doesn't light up the scoreboard. It doesn't light up the stats that we always get pushed with, the shots on target, blah, blah, blah. You kind of have to be tuned in, paying attention to catch the nuances of his game. But his performance was a standout performance. And maybe, forget the fee. We have to because it's ridiculous fees that we always seem to spend. But if you look at what he's doing, he seems to be finding that groove. He's needed a bit of time to settle in. I'm positive. And I've got stats here. He registered more successful ball recoveries at 7, registered more successful total duels won, 11 of 17, than any other Chelsea player against Luton. And he registered the joint most successful take-ons, 3 or 4 for Chelsea.
And he wasn't dribbled past once or something like that as well.
He looked good. I was really happy for him. I really was.
Really, really good performance.
I've got no winners now, so I'll have to turn to you, Chris, and I really hope that one of you two have got cold.
No, I haven't.
Oh, that's
I didn't put Palmer on because I thought everyone else.
Yeah, that's why I did the same thing. So I was like, he scored a Ronaldo-esque goal.
But I can add him on if you want because I had Silva as well.
Don't worry, I've got him.
Oh, he saved us. Go on, who have you got, Chris?
Nicholas Jackson. I actually think, although, and I've said on here before that you watch him play and he looks like a very awkward footballer. I actually think he's probably been better than he gets credit for.
Yeah, getting a lot of stick at the moment.
Yeah, and I just think he played on the left-hand side. I thought his defensive work was really, really good. Even right at the end of the game, like last sort of 5 minutes, tracking back and making that tackle in the box at 3-2 was really good work. He set up Palmer for the third goal with a lovely bit of play with strength in the middle, nice touch, and then a well-weighted through ball. I actually think he does a lot of good stuff in the game. He misses chances, we know. But I was thinking about it, and when you look at the strikers in the Premier League, and I mean like out-and-out strikers, so someone like Salah, for example, wouldn't count because he plays out wide. There's not many this season who's been better. You'd say Haaland, obviously, probably Solanke at Bournemouth and Watkins at Villa. But then outside of that, he's been better than Jesus at Arsenal.
Better than Ferguson.
Better than Evan Ferguson. Better than Højlund.
Yeah, much better than Højlund.
So, I think you'd struggle to find another. I mean, I'm struggling to find another one, but you'd definitely be struggling to find another 2, which means that he's top 5 strikers in the league. So I don't know what people are expecting. I think we've set our expectations a little bit too high. Chris Wood.
Taiwo Awoniyi.
Yeah, but he's barely played this season because he's been injured. I can't really think of another striker who's had a better season than Jackson. So
to be fair, Jackson made good runs, good defensive contribution, great assist. So maybe we should be looking at him on the wide or a supporting role instead of being the main striker.
I've been saying that for a long time.
Exactly.
But I really like him through the middle. I think he does so well because despite him playing out wide, a lot of his really, really good moments he did were in the middle of the park as well.
Yeah, I agree.
Like where what he does really well, Jackson, is when he takes the ball, he uses his body really well in his frame to feel the contact of the player with his back to him, and then spin the other way. And it's for a player that young to know how to do that is actually very impressive.
You know what we've done with Jackson again, though, don't you? We've signed another striker who would be better playing in a front two that we don't play.
Yeah,
It's like the fifth one in a row.
It's like when because people have compared him to Timo Werner, and rightly so in some aspects, that they both are quite awkward with the ball and they're not great on the eye, and they miss chances. But when we signed Werner, he just played in a team in a front two. And then we never played him in a front two. And then it was like, he seems to be struggling. And it's like, well, yeah, because you're not using him properly. And we've had this habit for a long time now, especially with forwards, of not using them properly. And I think Jackson's another one who's fell victim of that. But he's performed despite it, I would say.
Could argue Nkunku's the same as well.
Yeah. Another one likes a front two.
I've run out of winners. I think, Chris, you have?
Yes, I've run out.
Ollie, have you got one?
I've got two left, but one of them's really small. Obviously, before I get into Cold Palmer, we'll go with Alfie Gilchrist.
Well, both of them are very tall people, so I wouldn't say they're small.
No, not at all. But, just a small winner, really, because of just his cameos. His few cameos. It looks like Pochettino has some trust in him. And when he's come on, he's not let the side down at all. He showed passion. He showed energy. Absolutely screaming at the top of his lungs whenever he wins a tackle. Love that. And actually, late on in the Luton game, really saved us at the last second.
Yeah,
literally seconds before the end of the game, makes a massive one-on-one down the right-hand side. And, just if they put a ball in the box, you never know. Like, we were absolutely terrible that last 15 minutes, and we'll get to that. But, he saved us. He may well have saved us from drawing the game. You've got to give him a winner for that, because he's done everything you could have asked for him in such a short time.
And, the thing is, with Gilchrist, if anything sums up how toxic and negative Twitter is, it's his cameo appearances. Because everything Ollie just said is right. And he's come on and he showed real passion and desire. And,
what more could you want? Like,
he's clapping and shouting instructions. And I've actually seen people on Twitter putting up videos of him doing that, saying, who does he think he is coming on the pitch doing this? And you're like, what are you talking about? There are some people out there who will find a negative in everything. And it's like, this is why you really have got to take everything people say on these social media with a pinch of salt, because some people are just doing it to get the reaction, because it's ridiculous.
And despite what some of you might think, listeners, Chris is not one of those.
No. Despite my reputation, no, I'm not. I will look for a positive if it's there.
Right, losers. Go on, Ollie.
Final winner.
Of course, you had Cole Palmer.
Oh, yeah.
Cole Palmer.
Sorry. Come on, Mikey.
Wow,
Cole Palmer, absolutely, really, really good performance. Did sort of come in and out of the game a little bit at times. And when he was pushed to right wing, it wasn't as good. But you can't really argue with 2 goals. Does really well for the first one. It's a really nice finish. At first, I thought it took a deflection, but it didn't. It just lasered it into the bottom corner from a really nice position. Struck the ball really well.
Yeah.
And the second one is just absolutely phenomenal play. Receives the ball from Jackson really well. Stud roll, bounces the ball over the keeper. I don't know if anyone else has seen sort of the close-up replay. It's absolutely insane tech. It really is. And then the wherewithal and the patience and like the composure to take a second, beat another defender and just slot the ball home with his other foot. Just unbelievable play. It really was. And it's so nice seeing a player properly flourish at Chelsea for the first time in ages. And he is really what a lot of people are pinning their hopes on in terms of players for performances at the moment, because I think if he keeps this up, he's going to be our player of the season.
Yeah, 100%. Right. Well, go on, Chris.
Well, the thing is with Cole Palmer as well is he is proof that good players don't need time to adapt. And this is an argument I keep making with people when they keep forcing that he needs time and this player's world class, but he needs time. No, top players, come in and perform. That's what Nkunku's done so far in the limited time we've seen him. He looks like he can play. And Cole Palmer's come in and has done it straight away. It shows that the other players we've signed aren't as good as we all think that they are. That's the reality, because top players like Cole Palmer, they come in and they perform straight away. He hasn't come in moaning about, oh, it's an unstable team and I need time to settle and I don't know my teammates and, the usual bullshit excuses that you get. Top players come in and perform, and he is proof that a lot of our recruitment has been wrong. And when you get it right, that is how it should look.
The only thing I would say about that though is that it's not necessary. Like, for those players who aren't good straight away, it's not that they can't come good either.
Oh yeah,
because you look at someone like Branislav Ivanovic, for example. When we signed him all those years ago, he was on the bench for a long time and he was out of the squad for a long time.
Yeah,
before he actually kept played and became the powerhouse monster and the club cult hero that we know he is today. It's just that the top players will come in and perform straight away.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just that, you can still be a top player eventually, but you've got to have something about you to make that impact straight away.
Yeah, 100%. Right, losers. For me, these are some great typical me answers. I've got the 75th minute through to the final whistle, because
yeah, me too.
Luton have now look. I'll give a positive with this. So Luton have not lost by more than a goal at home this season, and they've played everyone from the top six apart from United at home.
They've had some very good performances against the big team.
So hindsight tells us that a 2-3 against Luton is not as bad as it sounds, but everything from minute 75 was appalling. It was shit. We made it so hard for ourselves by not being able to defend against two wingers. That game was literally the perfect analogy of a bloody good meal with a bad dessert.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Or like a really good meal and then food poisoning afterwards.
Yeah.
Did you?
That's what it was.
Oh man. I mean, Ollie, you've got him as a loser. Go on. Expand, please.
Yeah. I mean, exactly everything you just said, Mikey. It was like watching a plane crash in slow motion. It was absolutely appalling. I was convinced we were going to concede the third and be known as the bottle job team who threw it away. And I was absolutely furious at the team, as was Thiago Silva. So I feel like I was in good company. But yeah, we were just really sloppy. We didn't know how to handle the intensity Luton wanted to bring. We didn't really deal with anything that they tried to throw at us, and as a result, they constantly were chucking balls in the box, getting the second ball, and they were more motivated than us as well. We really had from a mental side of it, we looked like we were really lost in the game. And Thiago Silva, 12 clearances or whatever he got, most in the Premier League in absolutely ages, shows that he was the only one who was able to sort of keep his wits about him in the back line during that time, and thankfully it was enough to save us the 3 points. But it was really, really poor. And another one of my, it leads well into my other loser, which is Pochettino, because I thought actually the first 75 minutes were coached pretty well. I still don't like his weird substitutions. I still don't like half the time what he's doing, and I don't understand 80% of the time why he makes the decisions he does, to be honest. Yeah. However, the last, in specifically the last 10 minutes, he just failed to make any adaptations until he brought Gilchrist on, more or less, in like the dying seconds of the game, to actually make any adjustments, because Luton made a change at half time and started hitting us with the wing backs. And then for whatever reason, where Poch made his substitutions, that's when it got worse. And it just didn't recover, and Poch didn't make any changes until like I said, the dying seconds of the match. So for me, both losers, because you've got to be proactive, but you also have to be reactive too.
Chris, who's a loser for you?
Well, mine's sort of similar to that, really. It's attitude. I think there was when we went 3-0 up, and let's face it, we was 3-0 up and we was in complete control of the game, but it's not like we was 3-0 up and completely dominant. We'd had 3 moments that took the game away, which we don't say about us often. We had 3 really good moments to score, and we took our chances, and that's why we was 3-0 up, but the game was a lot closer than that. So I don't know where this sort of arrogance come from. That the game was over, and I think that really cost us, because the minute we dropped our level and our level of concentration, that's when Luton got on top, and then we couldn't pull it back again. I thought, for everything good we've just said about Cole Palmer, I thought he was one of the worst for it. He got put out on the right-hand side, and he didn't track that fullback once.
No.
And there was the one where I think it was the offside goal, which should have been the warning and the wake-up call, really.
Yeah.
Cole Palmer was literally stood with the Luton fullback, and he watched him run off. He literally stood still and watched him run off and put the ball in for the goal. And it's like, you can't be that lazy. I know the game's 3-0, but you can't drop your level. And I think this is what you see between teams like us and teams like Man City, Liverpool. They don't drop off. If Man City are 3-0 up against Luton, it stays 3-0 or it gets worse for Luton. It doesn't get back to 3-2, because Guardiola demands that they keep playing regardless of what the score is. Like Cole Palmer would never get away with that at Man City, letting that runner go there. It just wouldn't happen. But I can guarantee not a single Chelsea person said anything to him, except maybe Thiago Silva, because he seemed to be wanting to have a go at everybody, and rightly so.
Yeah.
And this is what you talk about with standards. You have to keep your standards high, whether you're winning 3-0 or losing 3-0. Your attitude and application should be the same. It can't fluctuate depending on what the score is. And I just thought it showed a real bad attitude in our players, that we've seen how bad they can be when they're losing, but we've also seen how bad they can be when they're winning.
Oh, 100%. Right. My second loser is Chelsea in the second half of games, because I've got a stat here. Chelsea are the only team in the league this season who have not gone in at half time losing a game. But when
astonishing.
That
absolutely astonishing.
First of all, good for us. But when we do falter, it's always in the second half of games. I mean, is it a fatigue issue, a tactical issue, bad subs from the manager? For me, I'm not feeling too good about the timing of Poch's subs, because at certain points, it's kind of like he's not catching the rhythm of the game. You know, I mean, he's a bit too passive in that department, and I'm not shy about saying this, because, you know, we've got to be a bit sharper. We have Poch, you know, reading the flow of the game, make those moves that keep us in sync with the game, because it's plain and simple. You kind of upset us a bit sometimes. I mean, I also said the other week, do not accept something in a win that you wouldn't in a loss. And I won't accept the lack of defensive awareness we showed. You know, apart from Silva and Gilchrist, none of those defenders showed up in the second half, especially in that 75th. I mean, we just switched off, and we won the game. Brilliant, happy. We got 3 points, but I'm not going to accept that just because we won. Because if we lost, we wouldn't be accepting it.
Yeah. I agree. Absolutely appalling. You know, it just for us to fall apart the way we did.
Yeah. We got to sort that second half stuff out. We have to. Otherwise, no, you don't get prizes for winning the first half, everyone. You don't get prizes. Who's a loser for you, Chris?
Malo Gusto. I've seen some people saying that they thought he had a really good game. I thought he was poor. I thought in the first half especially, he was sloppy on the ball and really poor defensively. Second half, he improved on the ball, but still very suspect defensively. Not helped by the fact that in the second half, a lot of the time he was being overloaded and no one was coming back to help him. But I just thought he lost a lot of his individual battles. And I just think it showed that although he doesn't look it, I don't think he is only like 20 years old. And like you have these sort of peaks and troughs with players that young. That the other week he was really, really good. And then this game,
don't let
he
this
wasn't
define
so
him.
good.
It happens.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I still think he's a really, really good right back. I just think for a team point of view, I think people have got to start realising when someone's struggling and partly the manager as well, and noticing that that's happening and getting someone over to help them. Because I just thought he was struggling, especially in the first half, and it was like everyone just hung him out to dry.
Yeah. Ollie, what about you?
All my losers are done. I could only find
Really?
two.
Oh, wow. I've got one more. Oh, by the way, just before I finish on this loser, I wanted to shout out a quick winner. Madueke looks on fire at the moment. My man, he looks good. He looks like he's got a goal in mind, and he scored a good goal. And I know some people are probably thinking you didn't mention him in winners. No, I apologise. He's not on my list, but he was good, and I'm
I agree. And
carries on.
A win for him is also kind of a loss for Pochettino anyway, because of how long he's been out. But do you know what? Fair. Actually, just on Madueke, really quickly, I've been really, really impressed with his attitude. He's got dropped, like. He even spoke about it in his interview a little bit, where he was saying, the Poch wants him to do more work off the ball, and
which he did in this game,
which he did, and how he was reacting to that. And actually, now he's played 2 games, got 2 goals. He has responded really, really well.
100%
to that kind of treatment, and so it's actually also kind of a win for Pochettino, because the man management is good if that was the plan the whole time. But it's also kind of bad if Madueke has kind of shown him up.
Right. My final loser is defending crosses, because we simply cannot do it. It's just like asking me to drive a Vauxhall car and not have it break down. Can't be done. It cannot be done. Luton just started spamming crosses into our box. Our defence obliterated like Thanos and the Snap. Oh my gosh, we could not do anything against it. I was losing my mind. Great tactics, simple, worked. I've got nothing else.
Luton signed Victor Moses because we parted like the Red Sea.
Yeah.
You know what it is with crosses as well, I think? Because it's not a lack of height, I don't think, in our team. I think it's because we never put any pressure on the cross. Our players are so slow to get out to people who are going to cross the ball in that we make it so easy for them. They're not crossing the ball under pressure. That's got to be a
coaching thing, surely, because surely that's a coaching thing.
Yeah, because it's easy to cross a ball under no pressure. Like, someone has got to start going and putting pressure on the ball, so it's not so easy for them to pick out people in the middle. Because, our defending and crosses and set pieces is absolutely horrendous.
Yeah. Any losers left, Chris?
I've got 2.
Go for it.
For the sake of fairness and to cover all bases, just write some claims on Twitter at the moment. I judge people as I see it, and in this game, Conor Gallagher is on the losers.
Weren't his best game.
No, I didn't think he had a very good game at all. Was second to everything. Didn't win his usual second balls like we've seen against Palace, especially. Thought he got dominated by Ross Barkley.
That is an indictment.
Yeah, but for all them people out there who seem to hate him at the moment for no reason whatsoever, it doesn't define him as a player, because Enzo's had games like this, Caicedo's had games like this. That's where we are. No one's claiming that Conor Gallagher is world class, but he is still our best midfielder this season. So, despite the fact that he did have a really bad game, which I thought he did against Luton, I thought on the ball he wasn't great either. He has still been one of our best players this season. I think people need to remember that one bad game doesn't negate everything good that you've done before it.
And who's your final?
Really quick one, and this is through no fault of his own at all, but Nkunku. For 2 reasons. I thought he come on, he got played up front, and we didn't get the ball to him once. I can't remember a single person passing him the ball.
I know he kind of played at Leipzig as like a shadow striker or a second striker, or sometimes as a false 9, but he's not really an out-and-out forward. And that's what he ended up being played as.
And that's why he's on the losers as well. The second part of why he's on the losers is because with Jackson now off to AFCON, everyone thought, well, Nkunku can come in and play where Jackson's played. And I think in this game, he proved that in the Premier League at the moment, he can't. Because he's not, I don't think he's physically ready for the sort of challenges that he'll come up against playing as the centre forward in the Premier League. He's better where he can float into space and operate where he can't be as easily marked. I think you'd lose a lot of him as a player if you make him go up against centre backs. And I just hope Poch recognises that and thinks, no, I'd rather have Cole Palmer go up there and do it.
I agree. I was about to say that.
I think he's much better at playing that sort of, and much more used to playing that sort of false nine role, and letting Kunku continue to do what he was doing off the left or as a number 10.
What about emojis? I'm debating between the phew and the old man emoji, because Silva was, arguably the player that actually was still top class in the 90th minute. So, yeah. I mean,
I went with mouth zipped emoji because this made me want to say absolutely nothing about
prefer not to
after
speak
the end of the game. I was so excited to praise our team and how much of a good game we had played, and that made me want to say absolutely nothing at all.
We were so good for 75 minutes. Really good.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the wristwatch emoji, because I spent the last 10 minutes just constantly looking at the time, thinking, just blow the whistle.
Yeah,
and it really shouldn't have been like that.
It really shouldn't have. Right. So this is a bit of one. Lion of the week. We'll go through them. I had Badiashile, who didn't play. Berth had Nkunku. I feel you've come away the best here, Chris, because you had Jackson and Ollie had Broja.
Ollie.
You've walked
it. That was not a good prediction, was it?
To
be fair, I was under duress. I did not have much time.
You panicked, went for it.
I did.
I totally
mention for loser.
Yeah, it wasn't his best.
He did not have a good game.
No,
although he was actually better in that 9 spot than Nkunku was because of the system he was playing.
Yeah, but he's bang average, Jenny. Let's be honest, he's proper mid-table, isn't he?
It's looking that way.
Right, we'll move to questions. Charisma's questions. So, Alexander has asked, has Gilchrist done enough for you guys to give him a run of games in the next 2 cup matches? This also links with Isaac's question of thoughts on giving Gilchrist a start and pushing Gusto over to the right.
It doesn't need a start. At least for me.
I agree.
I'm really happy with the little cameos he's doing. I really want us to introduce him slowly, because he doesn't need to get chucked into the spotlight right now with all the other young players that we've got, because all it's going to do is make people microanalyze absolutely everything he does. If you just keep throwing him on in these little 5-10 minute cameos, and you build up to 15, then a half an hour, then a half, and then you do an hour, then he starts a game, right? You can sort of see that at that point, but I just think we really need to be careful with how quickly we, despite all the good things we've said about him, how quickly we jump and say these players are ready to start, because this is a kid who has never played senior football before.
No, I mean,
so we just have to be really careful.
In a few days, we play championship opposition in Preston, so it'd be a comfortable game for him to at least start versus like a Premier League game against Liverpool that's coming up.
I think it's just more about introducing the amount of responsibility.
I'm not disagreeing.
Yeah,
I think the problem is, I think if he was in the team a few years ago with Hazard, Pedro, Willian, David Luiz, etc., 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 then yes, you could put him in for a home game in the FA Cup against Preston. But he's not coming into a really confident, free-flowing, experienced side. He's coming into a very flaky team that if they have an off day, it's really going to expose him. And the one thing we can't afford to do would be to go out of the FA Cup at home to Preston. So I just think it'd be a lot of pressure to put on him. We're not in a place at the moment where we can take anyone really lightly, whether they're in the Championship or not.
I think Poch knows that as well. Because for his own job security, he needs to be pushing for one of the trophies domestically this season, because we're reasonably close now to both. So we've got to be pushing on for that, and he'll know that too. So hopefully, strong opposition against strong starting 11. I mean, against Middlesbrough and Preston.
McClund21 has asked, Poch has mentioned toughness. How does he build killer instinct in this team? I had a good think on this, and I thought, let's just start with the training sessions. Just they're not kicking balls on their own; they're dodging paint bullets from paintball. Throw a couple of smoke, throw a couple of smoke grenades in for the added drama.
Get a siege mentality by putting them in an actual siege.
Look, right. I'm not really sure, in all honesty. I mean, they say that there's a saying that the valleys teach you lessons that the mountaintop never could. Now, right now, this entire squad are definitely in the valleys after we as a club that was on the top. I mean, we haven't sort of known this situation where we are in the league, etc., in decades, and it will tell you a lot about the mentality of the squad. You know, are they ready to fight to be the best club again, putting that extra training, the extra time, you know, that takes to be the best? Or are they going to throw the towel in and just say, mountain, it's too tall. You know, I'm going back to the cabin with the fire and my cup of tea. I mean, it's a difficult one because it's a young squad. But what I will say is you cannot teach effort. If they want it, they want it. If they don't, they don't. And we're going to keep signing players. That just seems to be the norm for us. We've got to sign players that have the right attitude. We have to do that.
I also think it's perseverance. You know, it's not like, because we've had a lot of false dawns and we're still going, you know, and we're still trying to get the best out of what we're doing and we're still trying to make it work. So for me, it's also about how many times you get back up after you get knocked down, right?
Exactly.
So,
attitude again, though.
Yeah, and that, like you say, Muggy, that all stems from a core cultural attitude. It's partially on the players, and it's partially on the leaders in the squad, and it's partially on Pochettino and even the board and the owners to cultivate an environment that will suit that kind of progression as a unit and as a club.
Yeah,
Right.
it has to come from him though. Ultimately, at the moment, there's not players in the squad with enough experience to demand it from the squad, to hold the squad to those standards. It has to come from him. He has to demand standards every single day, every session, every game. And I think that's probably where he's faltered a little bit so far, that he's been a little bit flip-flappy on his sort of demands. Like at the start, it was, this is Chelsea Football Club. You know, we are... this is a club about winning now. It's not about a process. And then 6 weeks later, it was, well, we're in a process. We know where we are. We're in mid-table. You can't flip-flop. You have to be what you are. And the first line that he went with of this is about winning now is absolutely right. Just because it looked like we can't doesn't mean that you drop it. You don't drop the standard. You still talk about winning, even though it's not possible. We have been. You still perform like you can win, even when like, obviously, you know, league title was long gone after about 6 games, but it's it has to come from him. And this is why January is so important for me. If we brought in 2 experienced winners into this squad, I think you'd see, even if they didn't massively improve us in terms of their quality on the pitch, I think you'd see a massive upturn in this team, because they look like they're just missing guidance. And I think a manager can only do so much and coaches can only do so much, but ultimately dressing rooms are led by players, and we need at least another 2 players in that dressing room to create that core group who will hold everyone else in there to the standard that a club like us expect.
Yeah, you're spot on. And if you add, say, for example, if you add 2 players who have the professionalism, the winning mentality, and the work ethic of someone like Prime Azpilicueta, right, and the stability that comes with that, you know, a 7 out of 10 every game, the whole team goes up a level. And that can't be understated. How much that could really benefit us going forward.
Here's a fun one. Josh has asked, if you were stuck in an elevator with 3 former Blues, who would you want to be with? I've got John Terry, Wayne Bridge, and David Luiz, because David and I are meeting.
We're so awkward.
Well, wait for it. David and I are eating popcorn together, watching what's going to happen. I mean, I have no idea where the popcorn comes from, but then again, I don't know why I'm in a broken down elevator with these 3. So, hey, this will be fun for us to watch. You know, who's going to be the one that mentions something? David going, hey, do you friends? Oh, it's just his humour. I know he'd do it. What about you, Per?
Yeah, honourable mention for Thibaut Courtois and Kevin De Bruyne.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Oh no! What? Oh no! We didn't have them at the
Dear, oh
same
dear.
time, did we? João Felix and Pedro Porro. We were just linked. We were linked. It didn't count. So, what about?
I would have
Go on.
Eden Hazard,
Yep.
Diego Costa,
Yeah.
and Juan Mata.
Oh,
That's three good ones. I think
Yeah,
I would
nice.
go with Jorginho,
Mm.
Timo Werner, and
Mm.
Hazard.
Oh, okay.
You know,
Very
have a
chilled
bit
guys.
of a just have a bit of a laugh. I think.
I also threw this one in because I thought, why not? Other pods are doing it. If there's a 2024 football resolution that you could change something about the sport, is it what would it be? What would it be for the year? What would you change?
Put semi-automated or fully automated offsides in the Premier League.
Okay, that's not really
Mine's-
chaotic. That's not chaotic
mine's-
as on mine.
It's not.
Mine's on a similar line there, Ollie. I'd
Oh.
change the offside rule altogether. I would
Mhm.
change it to
All right, Arsene.
you can only judge a player's feet.
Oh,
If a player's feet are onside, he's onside. If
I like
he's
that.
leaning forward, it makes no difference.
okay. I feel like we should bring in like a draft. So wherever you finish in the league, you can then sign a player from the opposite position.
That'd be
So-
that'd be good for us now.
Well, we're 10th, so we get in the opposite position. We would then have Wolves, who are currently 11th, and I don't know any Wolves players. We could have Hwang. He'd certainly score goals
Yeah.
for us, but I can't.
No,
think-
he wouldn't. Don't. Put
No, no one scores goals.
Yeah,
for
that's
us.
so true, Ollie. No, he wouldn't.
I did like anyone from I'm outside of like three strikers maybe in the entire world. Like if anyone comes to us, they just shit house their entire career
I mean,
every time.
I've got to be really cruel. Luton are laughing right now because they would get Man City, right? So you're like, oh, we're going to have some fun. Burnley in second bottom would get Villa. It's the one time they'd be like, no, I mean, you could pick anyone from that City squad and you'd be having a good laugh. Villa, they deserve to be second, don't get me wrong. But still, you'd rather pick from City squad, to be fair.
I wonder how the teams would change after that. I wonder if how much the different teams would go up and down for that.
Sheffield United probably picked Salah, so I think they probably absolutely...
They're getting a few points from that, surely, wouldn't
Yeah,
they?
they'd be all right. You know what? We'll end the year, the start the year. We're not ending the year. It's not 2024 New Year's Eve. We'll start the year and end the Monday show with a game of the Archie Thompson's Top Trumps. So, you remember Serie A goal scorers from the other week? Last year, we've got this week La Liga goal scorers. So I'll give you a player. You got to tell me if they've scored more or less goals in La Liga than the previous player. And we'll start with former Blue legend, one of my favourites ever of all time, Fernando Torres. He scored 103 La Liga goals. Ollie, did Roy Mackay score more or less than 103?
Oh, that's tough.
I'm gonna say less.
Bayern Munich legend.
Bayern legend, just scored goals everywhere. Just look at his goal score ratio. Wow. He scored 100. So it is less, Ollie. You are right.
Oh,
Now,
Oh,
what about the original Ronaldo? More or less than 100?
it's got to be more.
It is.
Surely.
It's 116. Wow.
no, it's not many more.
Ollie, you've got Spurs legend Roberto Soldado. More or less than
Oh.
116.
Wow. Oh, he was part of the Gareth Bale 7, wasn't he?
He was.
I'm gonna go with less.
You're going to be
Prime
gutted.
Ronaldo.
129. More
Oh
than
my
Torres. I
More,
know.
more than R9. Are you joking?
I was
That's
shocked
embarrassing.
at that. I was genuinely.
All right. Apparently,
shocked.
Soldado's the greatest of all time. So,
Clearly.
or either that, or Spurs really are like that.
I mean, it still blows my mind how good he. I mean, I'm looking through it now. I'm like, he's beaten some top players to be there.
I'm gonna have to go and watch some highlights or something of his, like to see the goals, because I can't imagine a world in where he's good.
I mean, he's better
I
than
don't mean
players.
that in a mean way. I just can't imagine it.
He's better than Mario Kempes. He got more goals than Mario Kempes.
Jesus.
Wow. Right. Ollie, Chris, you've got Walter Pandiani, Friend of the show because he liked one of our tweets.
Well, thank you, Walker.
He played there for a long time.
Mm.
But I'm going to say less.
He did, 83. Ollie, you got Gareth Bale.
I'm going to go with more.
No, 81. Oh, dear.
It was close.
Wow.
Chris, what about Diego
it.
Costa? Man in the lift.
Oh,
He will remember
I
your answer.
don't think he scored that many, because he had that. Like, well, we brought him after his really good season.
Yeah, that's fair.
And before that, he wasn't that good.
he
So I'm
wasn't
going to
actually
say.
he wasn't there for all that long.
No,
was
he
he?
wasn't. I'm going to say less.
He did. He got 73.
Ooh.
Ollie, Neymar.
Surely more.
68 less.
Wow, really?
Wow.
So hang on, you're telling me that Roberto Soldado has scored twice as many goals in La Liga as Neymar has?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
It is proof we're living in a simulation,
Yeah.
folks.
What
This is
about-
absolute nonsense?
what about MLS legend? Because he is Carlos Vela. More than 68 or less than 68?
Nah, it's got to be less.
It's not. It's 69.
Wow.
Yeah. And
Fair
to
enough.
close the show, Ollie, you've got Diego Forlan.
More.
Oh, another Villarreal legend.
I will tell you, he got one less than Soldado. 128. It is more. Yeah.
Wow. So
Yeah.
Soldado marginally better than Diego Forlan.
I mean, I've just gone quickly through the La Liga top scorers, and Fernando Herrera is 54th with 105. He got more than Torres, Luis Enrique, Roy Mackay. Wow.
Not that many players have scored that many goals then in La Liga.
Well, Soldado's got more than Kluivert. Wow. Looking at some of these names, it's
I
like-
bet Raul's got a few, innit? Real Madrid.
Raul is. I feel like he'd be top.
Who's
He's
got to be
very
right.
top?
He's
Ronaldo?
sixth. He's sixth in the all-time scoring.
Yeah, I thought he'd be quite high.
Yeah, he's sixth. I mean,
Who's first? Is it Ronaldo?
no, Ronaldo's second with 311.
Ah,
Messi's
that's fair
top
enough.
with 474.
Jesus.
Gets better. Before you think, yeah, but how many games? 520. He scored nearly a goal a fucking game.
That's mad, isn't it?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow. Oh, right. Well,
15 years as well.
yeah. Well, third spot has 254, and it's Telmo Zara, who I don't know.
I don't even know who that is.
He played for Athletic Bilbao, and during the 50s. So there we
All right,
go.
we got to end the
Oh,
show.
that'll be why.
People clicked off minutes ago.
Yeah. Well, they clicked off when they found out Soldado had more goals than Ronaldo.
yeah, that's
Right,
when
I
they-
mean,
that's when I
that-
was like, that's enough.
Get Sold. He's still Soldado's still playing. He might do a good job for Chelsea this January window. Bring him in, veteran striker. There we go.
Worked with
Uh,
Pochettino before.
Yes. Oh no. Right. With that, thank you for listening to the first episode of 2024. Treat yourself well. We've got a Friday episode, so we'll be back Friday, looking over our charting of the players in our squad. So that's going to be fun. Who's going to have dropped out? That's all I'm curious about. I haven't even looked at my list since we did it. So yeah, we'll be doing that. So we will. Till then, anyway, we'll be signing off.
You've been listening to At The Bridge Pod, a Chelsea FC podcast. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram by searching for At The Bridge Pod. And if you're listening on Apple or Spotify, leaving us a review is always appreciated.